There are few things in life that can truly bring us together. Few things that can lift us to our feet and bring us to our knees. Few things that can be analyzed, internalized, socialized, even spiritualized. It gives us identity. It gives us purpose. It makes us believe. There's nothing better. To the sickos, the diehards, the supporters, the hooligans, to the rowdiest, the most obsessed, the fans. For us and all those like us, it will always be sports over everything.
Sports over everything. It's not just a sports slogan, it is a way of life. And that is what we are here to talk about today on the Denver Sports Podcast. Welcome in. It's another beautiful day to talk about the Colorado Avalanche and the one and only Nathan MacKinnon. And we've got the one and only AJ, the hockey wizard himself, as I called him just moments ago on Twitter, joining us today. AJ, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, brother? I'm pretty good. I'm actually really excited, getting ready to fly back to Denver on Friday morning.
Ooh, let's go. Let's go. Why are you just coming back to hang with the crew? What's your plans?
No, DNVR Abs is having the suite takeover on Saturday, and I'm coming back for that.
I am so bummed that I'm missing that. I was informed by both Spencer and Bailey last week that was happening, and I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little jealous. That's going to be an absolute blast.
Yeah, man. Taking the girlfriend to her first NHL game. She's going to be in a suite, so she's going to have a very false idea of what these games are like.
Okay, so I was going to say, you're setting the bar super, super high, because not only does she get to go watch this game in a suite, but it's the Colorado Avalanche, arguably, not arguably, the best team in the NHL. This is that's going to be huge. That's going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah, her first ever hockey game, she sat on the glass for a college hockey game at Yale last year, and now her first NHL game is going to be in a suite. So I have done everything I can to possibly introduce her to the coolest parts of the sport.
I got to say, I speaking from my experience, I'm also very spoiled too, because I grew up, a lot of you guys know, grew up in Seattle, a place where when I was growing up, they didn't have NHL hockey. And then when I moved to Colorado, the first year that I had moved in Denver was the year the Avs won the Stanley Cup. And I've loved hockey my entire life, but didn't have an NHL team to root for, moved to Denver, and I'm like, all right, the Avs are my team. And then they won a Stanley Cup. And I was like, is this what it's really like, right? Is this how good it really is? So yeah, it's we're a blessing of riches, as we like to say here.
Yeah, I mean, it's you moved to Denver, the Avs won the Stanley Cup. The Avs moved to Denver, they won a Stanley Cup. So, it's just how it goes sometimes.
I can't say it's a coincidence, but I'll take some credit for that at least. Look, we got a great show today. It is officially our Sports Over Everything debut, a new slogan, a new theme for us here at DNVR. And like I said in the open, it's basically a way of life. We're going to be talking all things about Nathan MacKinnon, who's the epitome of sports over everything as a player, hockey over everything specifically as a player. But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you specifically, AJ, you've been covering the Avs for a long time. You've been a sports fan, a hockey enthusiast your entire life. So I wanted to start this by asking you, from your perspective, what does it mean to you to say sports over everything? What does that specific saying mean to you in your life, in your context?
Well, so a lot of people know this. I grew up in the South, and I'm not a particularly religious person. And I have always viewed sports as my personal religion. The arenas, the stadiums have always been my cathedrals where I go to worship. And that has always been it for me. Like, sports has always been my escape. It has always been my sanctuary from, what ails me in life. It has always been the constant for me. And sports over everything has just always been ingrained in my brain since I was born. I played sports my entire childhood, and then when concussion problems took that away from me, it just meant that I was watching more sports. So it really just it's really just been my entire existence. It's sports have been in my DNA since I was born.
Dude, I love it. I couldn't have said it better than you, and I agree with you completely. Like I said in the open, it's not just a slogan; it's a way of life. For me, sports over everything. At least from the context of this recent season for me, it's watching 162 Colorado Rockies games in which they lost 119. Right? Like, I'm a baseball guy. You guys know that. That was sports over everything to me. It's enjoying your teams no matter the outcome. And yes, I understand that we are blessed with 3 teams here in Colorado that are at the peak of their performance, the Avs, the Nuggets, and the Broncos, where we get to see, we were talking about this before the show, we get to see the Nuggets having the greatest player in the NBA playing. You get to see, the Broncos with the best path to a Super Bowl, or the easiest path to a Super Bowl in the NFL, and the Avs having the best team in the NHL as a collective. Like, we are so fortunate in that. But I think sports over everything is also when your team is not good and when your team is going through it, because not all teams, I mean, we're extremely thankful to have 3 of those teams playing incredibly well right now, but that's not always the case. And as an Avs fan, we know as Denver sports fans, there's a lot of droughts that we've had to live through. And I think being able to be a fan through those droughts, being able to still show up to games, still watch teams, be pissed off, be angry, feel all the emotions, that's sports over everything. And we've experienced that for a long time before this recent run with the Avs. The Avs had a lot of struggles for years before they've had this recent era of success.
Yeah, I mean, my career began with Patrick Waugh's last season, and then my second year full-time on the beat doing this job was the 48-point season where the Avs lost 60 games, and they were down 1-0, what felt like at the opening faceoff of the game. Like, they couldn't score. They had Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen and Matt Duchene and Gabe Landeskog and all these guys, right, who were really good NHL players, and they couldn't score. They couldn't defend. Semyon Varlamov went down for an injury, a season-ending injury in December, and they couldn't stop a puck. It was brutal. It was genuinely like, I was the only Denver media member that was in that Avalanche locker room every single day for that entire season, because everybody else just pulled the ripcord and said, we don't need to be here for this, man. Like, this is no. And that was my trial by fire. Like, that's how I learned the job, while a team was so bad that we didn't even know what to talk about anymore. So it was, you are familiar with this. What do you even say when the exact same thing happens for the 15th straight day? So it is remarkable, and it genuinely does make it feel different.
Yeah, and it makes you
through that.
Totally, and it makes you appreciate the success that they're having right now, the enjoyment of these games. I mean, God, these games, even, last night was a dud, but it's so fun night in and night out, right? I mean, they're going to have dud games. It happens. That's sports, but it's just an absolute blast to watch these games. And then a team like the Nuggets, without any of their starters, going out and, winning a game, and you're just like, and the Broncos winning every game by just a touchdown coming back in the fourth quarter. Like, it's just incredible. So I could go on and on about this, but we're here to talk about the Avs, and specifically to talk about Nathan MacKinnon and the career year that he is on track to have, that he's currently having. It's, I guess, kind of anticlimactic that we're talking about Nathan MacKinnon and all the crazy success that he's having after coming off of for his standards, a pretty rough game last night, right? It wasn't the typical Nathan MacKinnon game that you get, but by all accounts and purposes, this has been one of the greatest, if not the greatest season we've ever seen from Nathan MacKinnon. And I just can't help but be in awe of what he's been doing this year. And you get to cover him. You get to watch every single game. You see the ins and the outs, and you've seen the trajectory of where he's gone from where he started to where he is here. Is there something you can attribute to why he's peaking at this moment or hitting his stride at this moment? He's always been good, but it feels different what he's doing this year.
Yeah, I think as the game has opened up over the last handful of years in the NHL, scoring has exploded. So guys are no longer leading the league in scoring with 93 point seasons, 98 point seasons. Um, you're talking Nathan MacKinnon had 140 points 2 years ago and didn't win the Art Ross Trophy as the highest scorer in the league. So and that's something he's never won. And he's going to struggle to win again this year because Connor McDavid's a monster. Like his game has really gone as the league has, and I think he and McDavid really have been the primary faces of how the NHL has evolved, because it's so much about speed and skill and being able to play through the neutral zone with the puck. And the guys that do that at the highest levels are the ones who are special, and those are the ones that are leading the league in scoring, and those are the ones that dominate the game. And you look at Leon Draisaitl, puck skill, Nikita Kucherov, puck skill, like those guys, but do it in very different ways. Draisaitl's all power. Kucherov is all poise and finesse and creativity and vision. With MacKinnon, it's all of it. He has all of those attributes. He can be a great goal scorer. He's got elite speed. He plays with enough power. I mean, you see him regularly just bully people, and it's the combination of all of those things that makes MacKinnon a little bit different from all the other guys.
Yeah, he's what you call a 5-tool player in baseball, right? He's a guy who has, everything that you could ever ask for. Most guys, you would hope to have elite ability in one of those categories that you just mentioned, right? Elite speed, but maybe not a lot of power, or elite goal scoring, but not a lot of speed, or whatever, right? And he has all of those. And so I feel like that's one of the things that makes him unique, is he's just a complete package when it comes to his ability on the ice. And it's obvious, we see it every single night.
Yeah, and it has translated into the postseason, where he's been a point per game player in his career, but every single season that he has played in the playoffs, he's produced a point per game. Yeah, that's remarkable. It's incredibly difficult to do. Almost every player sees their career point per game go down in the playoffs, and MacKinnon's has held steady. He's a monster. He's a very, very special player, and what we've seen to start this year, he drives me crazy. Honestly, he so many of his little idiosyncrasies in his game, I hate. He's bad body language. He's such a pouty man baby. Like there's some, like, he's not nice to the media. He's not nice to a lot of his teammates. He's not incredibly well liked because of those things. Like some of that stuff, it's so frustrating. He's lazy. The when he gets off the ice for a line change, and you just see him completely give up and stop skating in the center of the ice, and you're like, you have 20 feet to go, man. What do you do? Get off the ice. There's still a game going on, brother. Like, those things drive you insane. They're so frustrating. And then he has a 4-point night, and you go, okay, Nathan MacKinnon. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, he's just amazing to watch. And because we watch him every day, those little things bother you. If we weren't watching him every day, we would just be like, who cares? Look what he does. But that's the world that we live in. Like, we're so accustomed to the silly stuff that he can get away with, because he's spectacular, because he is able to produce the way that he is. He drives play in a way nobody else does. And he's certainly this year, he's scoring goals in a way nobody else is. And the fact that he just had 2 pointless games and the Avs lost what were essentially 2 1-goal games is like, this is easy math, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is easy math. Like, he's incredibly important to what they do, and he's at the heart of all of their success. Yeah. And all the success that they hope to have, it's a lot of it is on him.
It's hard not to draw some comparisons between him and Jokic, because with the Nuggets, obviously their success, the equation for the Nuggets' success, a lot of it revolves around Nikola Jokic being the unicorn that he is. But I do think the difference for the Avs is there's more depth in talent, or top-level talent, top-tier talent with the Avs than there are in the Nuggets, right? There's a big gap between what Jokic is and what the rest of the Nuggets are able to do. And the Nuggets still have depth, but it's not at the same level that the Avs have. And I think that's why sometimes, it's interesting to see how he's progressed this year because of the talent he has around him. I mean, and it's not to take away from what MacKinnon is as a human being and as a talented hockey player, but he does have so many guys around him that are constantly elevating his game because they're also such elite hockey players.
Yeah, but the depth is incredibly important because the last couple of years he has been one of the leading forwards in ice time, if not the outright leader in ice time. And there have been games where he plays 23, 24, or 25 minutes. Those are not forward numbers. Those are defenseman numbers.
Yeah.
That's number one defenseman numbers, and he's going out there every other shift. That's not normal. And you see, while he has produced a lot of points the last couple of years, there's been a detrimental effect because he's had to carry the load. It's been Nate or bust for years. And that includes the guys on his line. So like Mikko Rantanen, even Cale Makar spends the vast majority of his ice time on the ice with MacKinnon. He's the cog. You can look at the on ice numbers, the with and without you stuff shows you that with MacKinnon, everybody's great. Without MacKinnon, some of them are still pretty darn good, but they're not in the same category. Like, he turbocharges everybody around him. And this year you bring up the improved depth, and you see Nathan MacKinnon is averaging almost a minute less per game, and he's scoring at a higher rate. Why is that? Because he's fresher. He's having to take less of the load. He can have nights where he is only playing a 19 minutes instead of a 24-minute game. There are nights where there's that balance because the other the Avs are just steamrolling enough teams that he gets to relax a little bit in third periods, and he doesn't have to, They can take some of the shifts off because they're not constantly chasing. Last year, they led the NHL in comeback wins because they were always trailing. This year, that is not the case. So the team improving around him has helped MacKinnon find the best version of himself because he's had to carry less of the load. He doesn't have as much of the pressure, and it really has turbocharged his production, his rate of production, and everything about him except on the power play.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we got to pause for our first break of the show. After the break, what does Nathan MacKinnon need to do, whether it be this year or in the coming years, to be considered one of the greatest of all time? We'll talk about that coming up next. Well, I want to give a huge shout out right now to our friends over at New Built Construction because it is winter right now, although it doesn't feel like it outside in Denver. But it is winter, and we know that sometimes home emergencies happen, especially when the temperatures get cold. Pipes get a little dicey sometimes, and you got to be prepared when that home emergency hits with a company like New Built Construction and Renovations. They help you with licensed general contractors to make sure that they can tackle any project, big or small. And the cool thing about New Built is they are available 24/7. So if it's the middle of the night and something happens, you hear leaking in your walls, or maybe there's some fire damage that happens, God forbid anything like that happens, you can call them 24/7, no matter what time of day. They will help you with fire damage, water damage, mold removal, repair services, commercial projects, and more. So when that home emergency hits, New Built Restoration and Construction will be there at NUBILT.com or 720-903-4254. Again, that's 720-903-4254. Let them know that DNVR sent you. Well, I also want to give a huge shout out to our friends at Raising Cane's because Raising Cane's is the best place to go if you are in the mood for some fresh and good tasting chicken fingers. They can make your dreams come true, and I don't say that lightly. The cool thing about them is they've got incredibly fresh everything. Chicken tenders, they make their cane sauce every single morning. They have fresh squeezed lemonade, and a bit of a sleeper pick with Raising Cane's is their tea. Their tea is incredible. And I actually came home yesterday. My father-in-law's in town, and I opened up my fridge, and there was a gallon jug of Raising Cane's tea. I didn't even know you could buy that in the store. So whether you are going through the drive-thru, or you're getting some Raising Cane's on your road trip, whatever you're doing, or if you're going into a store and you just want to get some gallon fresh tea, oh my gosh, you can't go wrong with Raising Cane's. So get out there and enjoy some Raising Cane's. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love. Talking all things Nathan MacKinnon and his legacy. So it brings up the question, Nathan MacKinnon's has had incredible success in his entire career so far, and hopefully we have years and years more to come of success from Nathan MacKinnon. So the question is, what does Nathan MacKinnon need to do, whether it be now or in the remainder of his career, to be considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest, of all time?
Greatest of all time is impossible. He's just not good enough for that. The bar for that is obscenely high with Wayne Gretzky.
It is.
Alexander Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer of all time. It's just, that's not on the table. I'm not even sure that we would get him into the top 5. Just because is he going to surpass Sidney Crosby, Mario Lemieux, like those types of, I really don't, I have a hard time seeing that. To answer your question, what does he need to do to get into the conversation? There needs to be more Stanley Cup wins.
Yeah.
He's got one. That's great. He needs at minimum one more. Realistically, for us to have that conversation, there needs to be 2. Because greatest of all time, he's not even greatest in Avalanche history. He's chasing Joe Sakic still. And Sakic had 2 Stanley Cup wins and a Conn Smythe. And Art Ross, a Hart Trophy. He did everything, right? He had one of those all-time great years where wire to wire, he was the man on the best team, and he won a Conn Smythe in their first Stanley Cup win and almost broke the record for goals in a postseason. So MacKinnon needs to do something like that. Cale Makar won the Conn Smythe last time around. So that has to happen. That's a minimum. You can't be in the top 10 conversation if you don't have a Conn Smythe, or like one of those absolutely outrageous number of points by the end of your career where you're talking 1,600 career points.
Yeah.
MacKinnon's at 1089 right now. So he's got a ways to go. I think Sakic is the benchmark that he wants to shoot for. Sakic finished with 1641, 2 Stanley Cups, and a Conn Smythe. That's the goal. Become the greatest in Avalanche history, overtake Sakic, which when he retired, none of us ever thought would happen. And that puts him in the top 10 conversation. If he can overtake Sakic, he's top 10.
Yeah, I think, the easy answer is, of course, Stanley Cups for anyone. We've had this conversation about Jokic, and the same answer was given that, you got to win NBA championships to be considered one of the greatest of all time. Same thing here. Yeah. But I also just think consistency, the health, right? If he can stay healthy, we know he's going to continue putting up crazy numbers. He's an incredible hockey player. He's got incredible talent, as you just mentioned. If he can stay healthy and just keep playing full seasons, right? Even if you're resting him occasionally, even if you're trying to lighten his load a little bit, I just think the numbers, like you said, will catch up, right? And you're right. It might not be greatest, in the top 5, but I think it could be enough to be considered one of the greats, and definitely the greatest Avalanche player of all time. And it's just consistency. And that's my thing. Yeah. I think, we've seen that the output is clearly there. It's just a matter of, can you continue to do that for however many more years you're going to be out there playing hockey?
Yeah, he is less than 600 points away from Sakic, which sounds like, oh, that's not that many if he's having 100 points seasons, but he just turned 30.
Yeah.
So you expect he'll slow down sometime. I would probably give him another 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I worry that his speed is such an important part of his success that when he loses a step, he may not be able to adjust. Like, the way that Crosby has aged has been amazing because he has an unbelievable hockey brain, and Nathan MacKinnon doesn't. That's why we see him struggle in 3v3. He can be kind of a dummy out there sometimes. And if the things that have been working for him his entire life stop working, he might really struggle in the aging process. So I'm worried that he hits the wall really quickly. Yeah. And all of a sudden he's a 60-point guy, something like that, But I don't think we have, I think that's still a handful of years away. I would say I am on guard. I feel confident about 3 years, anything over 3 years. And where I'm open to the idea that he hits the wall whenever it is, right? Whatever. The one thing that will really help him, he takes incredible care of himself. He takes it very seriously. He means business. He's very dedicated to having as absolutely long a career as he can, and being, he's hyper competitive. So he wants to be at the tip top for as long as he can. So this is a good combination. Like this is a good recipe for a player trying to chase down Sakic. And this year is this team. I've said it from preseason. This is the 2001 Avalanche reincarnated, which is arguably the greatest Avalanche team ever. And the way that they went wire to wire, Sakic had an unbelievable season and was the man that year and won a bunch of hardware. And they win their second Stanley Cup, and it's the Ray Bourque moment, and everybody knows the story. So that I think is trying to accomplish that goal again. If they can chase that down, I mean, this is legacy territory, where you're not just talking about, oh, well, he only won the one. Alex Ovechkin's an amazing player, greatest goal scorer in NHL history. He's won one Stanley Cup, and as much as that was like, he got it. It won't be greatest player to never win one. It's also okay, but he only has won one. Now he's still playing, so they could win another one, but seems a little unlikely.
Yeah.
With this team and with MacKinnon and like, this is the year. It has to happen this year, because they are so clearly at the moment, and teams haven't made their moves. They haven't done the deadline thing where they trade a bunch of stuff to improve. But this is the year where it's there for the taking, certainly out west. And you don't really care who you play coming out of the East. Whoever comes out of the East is like, whatever, you'll take it, because that means that you're in the Stanley Cup final and things have gone really well for you. So it's gotta happen this year. I think there's so much pressure on everyone in the Avalanche organization, knowing how hard it was. The loss from last year was really painful. We interviewed Jack Drury on our pod in the preseason. He said it was the hardest loss of his life. And I think that they've carried that.
Yeah.
And you can understand why. They've also, asset-wise, cap-wise, they have gone all the way in on this year's team to try and make this, to maximize this year's group and say, we are winning this damn thing.
Yeah.
They are clearly the best team through 42 games. They are clearly the best team in the league right now. They're head and shoulders above everybody. They're way out in front in the standings. All of it is there for the taking. And it all starts with Nathan MacKinnon has been outstanding.
He's been a dog.
He's been unbelievably good. So if that continues and they roll into the postseason, and the postseason picture right now is obviously still murky. We're only halfway through, but you can look at it, and right now you're going, oh man, this is setting up nicely for them. It's setting up nicely.
I feel like the frustration, I mean, you go back to last year, and obviously that was a devastating loss, Game 7.
Yeah.
But it compounds from before that too, because you came out of the Stanley Cup, you win the Stanley Cup, then the next season, you enter in the playoffs against the Kraken, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, all right, we should have this, right? This shouldn't be a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And then you lose to the Kraken and you get eliminated. And then Kane was like, all right, well, that was just a fluke little, hangover from the Stanley Cup. And then you go 7 against the Stars. And it's been building up to this. And I do feel like the pressure part of it is definitely real. I'm sure the players feel that. I'm sure the organization feels that. We as the fans feel that, because like DJ says in the chat, this is MacKinnon's best season, and this is the Avs' best season in a long time.
Yeah.
So it feels like a culmination of everything coming together all at once. And it's one of those situations where it's like, if you don't take advantage of this now, are we ever going to do it again, right? That's the feeling of this.
Yeah, it definitely is. They've built what has been by far the best team, and the best team that's hitting on all cylinders, and all three levels of the team has been great. Now they're going through their injury problems. Landeskog, Taves, Logan O'Connor hasn't played for them at all, and he's a fourth line guy, but he's like the fourth line guy. He's very important to their success. It is this year, if only because they are so good and everyone around them is so deeply flawed. And the Avs are kind of built for whatever game that a team wants to play. They can handle it. We've seen them through 42 games this year. They've won a lot of games in a lot of different ways. It's not just, well, they scored 5 goals, so obviously they won. They've won a lot of games in a lot of different ways, and that's what makes a team truly scary. And it starts with MacKinnon. When the game starts, you can just expect, well, at least a MacKinnon point is coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
And again, I mentioned it earlier. He scored no points in Florida, and they lost what were essentially 2 1-goal games. Like, that is very easy math to do, where you say that's the difference.
Yeah.
He is their ace in the hole consistently when you have a guy that you can rely on to at least 1 point. Most nights it's 2, but at least 1 point.
Oh, 100%.
And that's what makes them special. If they ever figure out this power play problem, and honestly, I haven't even really mentioned it, but that MacKinnon is second in the NHL in scoring on a bad power play is remarkable. It means he's getting all of his points either at 5-on-5 or against an empty net. Like, those are remarkable stats for him. The fact that he's leading the league in scoring by a healthy margin, and he's not doing it on the power play, like, it's a really big thing that he is finding this success.
Yeah, not to be taken for granted. Not to be taken for granted at all. We got to pause for our second break of the show. After the break, I've got a controversial question that I want to ask AJ. I want to get his take on, so we'll talk about that coming up in just a moment. Well, I want to take this time to quickly plug a new sale that we're doing. We got our Die Hard sale that just kicked off yesterday because the Broncos are officially the 1 seed and are in the playoffs. So, of course, we at DNVR said, you know what? Let's give you guys at home a chance to jump on this train, become a diehard. Not only is it a $36 intro offer, which means you save $44 on the year, you get a free DNVR t-shirt when you sign up, including our playoff collection. So you can get a Broncos t-shirt, you can get Avs t-shirts, you can get any of our t-shirts, and you also get exclusive coverage. You can get access to the one and only Studs and Duds post-game reviews that I tend to lean on a lot for all of my Avs coverage. AJ does a great job with that. Or if you want to get some Broncos playoff coverage, you just can't go wrong. Become a diehard today. It is cheaper than it ever will be. $36 right now. You save $44 for the year. So become a diehard right now while it's available to you and while it's on sale like this, because I don't know if it's going to be on sale for very long. So jump on board, become a diehard. Sports over everything. Let's keep rolling here on the Denver Sports Podcast. I want to get to a question real fast before I jump into this controversial question I'm going to ask AJ from our boy Spence, Big Drive Spence, as do the Avs have to be fully healthy to win a cup this year, or could they do it without or with the injuries that they're dealing with right now if these guys don't get healthy? AJ, what do you think?
Well, I mean, these specific injuries, if they don't have Landeskog, it's really hard to see them doing it. We've seen that the last couple of years, we've seen what they look like without Landeskog. And they're pretty good. And then they get to the postseason, and the way Landeskog plays, the rough and tumble, the physicality, the mean streak, the leadership, all of it, it's vital to their success. It's really, really hard to envision a world where they win a Stanley Cup without Landy. Devon Taves, it sounds like he'll be back, but he hasn't been nearly as good as in previous years, and that's a concern. But a top pairing defender, like I don't want to say it all, but a lot of it does come down to which guys get hurt and which guys get hurt in a way that is unplayable. And because it has to be bad for a guy to miss a postseason hockey game. Mm-hmm. And I just think that I mentioned earlier, other teams haven't made their moves. The Avs haven't either. So I think that they will try to fortify the roster a little bit to guard against that as much as they possibly can. But you just really need good depth, because you're going to get hurt. It's 4 rounds of playoff hockey. You just need, at the end of the day, so much of the postseason is a war of attrition. And you just need to be less hurt than the other team.
Yeah, that's funny. I see Sky in the chat says, are you hurt or are you injured? Yeah, that is the reality of it. I mean, not to go back to the Nuggets here, but it's the same thing with Jokic. I mean, when Jokic went down, all of us were sitting there holding our breath saying, God, I hope he's just hurt, right? I hope he didn't tear his ACL. We were celebrating when we found out he's only going to miss 4 weeks, because that's like, you're hurt, but you're not like injured, right? You're not fully, disabled for the remainder of the season. You're just hurt. You'll be back. And so I do think that distinction is huge when you're talking about the Colorado Avalanche. Hockey, guys are going to get hurt, but you just got to keep them healthy enough to not get injured.
Oh, and we had the same conversation about Landeskog the other day when he went into the goal post, and it was okay. Well, he had a really bad toe pick right before he went in. Is it a knee? Is it ribs? Like what? And then it came out that it's like, okay, it seems like this is just a rib problem, and everybody was like, yeah, so like, sorry for your ribs, but like, thank God it's not the knee. Okay, we're okay. It's gonna hurt a lot, but like,
thank God he's only in excruciating abdominal pain. That's fine.
Yeah, like, this is not my abdominal pain. I'm not the one struggling to breathe, but it's not the knees, so he's gonna be okay. He's gonna be able to play in, I don't know, like 2 months. We'll see.
Yeah.
They haven't ruled him out for the Olympics and all that. Like, we just have to see how the healing process goes with the ribs before we can really start dreaming about him coming back. But yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. It's early still. We got time. We got plenty of time. But I got a bit of a controversial question for you. Maybe it's not that controversial, but I'm curious to see your reaction. Avalanche bias aside, speaking just from hockey terms, Nathan MacKinnon or Connor McDavid, who are you taking on your team if you had to choose?
I've always said McDavid. I know Avs fans are annoyed about it. I've always appreciated McDavid's game a little bit more. I just think he's a little bit better. But they both kind of have the same puck mark. McKinnon's never won a Game 7, which is like, that's not fair to hold that against. Like, that's a...
But it's a thing. But it's
like,
a thing.
Like, oh, Nathan MacKinnon hasn't won a Game 7? Like, it's not the Avalanche haven't done it in like 20 years? Like, it's not fair. But it's true. And like, we hold like the Game 7 is like hallowed ground in sports history. Like the Game 7 is where you Nathan MacKinnon's rookie year, they lost in Game 7 to the Minnesota Wild when Nino Niederreiter came down the wing and rang a shot off the post and in. This is not an exaggeration or a joke. I still hear that post ping in my nightmares to this day. If I'm having a bad dream, that post ping, I hear it, and the silence of the crowd and
sports over everything.
Exactly, like the collective like heartbreak of that moment. It just stays with you. That hurts. And the Game 7 last year, they had the 2-0 lead. MacKinnon scores like a minute into the third to give them the 2-goal lead, and you're like, is this finally going to be it? And they get down to 8 minutes, and you're like, oh man, here we go. And it's just not it, right? Like, so that's tough with McDavid. I mean, 2 years ago, he had maybe the greatest postseason we've ever seen from a player ever. And the pockmark there was Games 5, 6, and 7 of the Stanley Cup final. Quiet. He scored like 40 points in the playoffs. Quiet. And it's kind of the same thing. They're both elite regular season performers. They're both elite playoff performers. One of them, it's so tough. Like,
it is tough.
Really, if you're like, force me to pick one, I'll probably take McDavid, but it's like, I'm not going to feel good about it.
No. No. It's like the LeBron Michael Jordan take. You're going to get people who are pretty adamant on either side, but you're also going to get a lot. But like, the reality is, you could go both ways. Like, you could go either way. Now I'm Michael Jordan all the way. I think LeBron's a schmuck, but you could see the argument is very much there. And that's the same thing. I mean, they're both just incredible players, MacKinnon and McDavid. You can't go wrong with this pick, but if you're having to make the decision, gun to your head, you got to choose one. you're going with McDavid, and I
I
can
think
see why.
so. He's so cerebral on top of everything else that I appreciate that. And he's so, like, they're both hyper competitive. If somebody prefers MacKinnon's power over McDavid's grace, I can understand that. It's basically the rebirth of Nadal Federer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's stylistically, which do you prefer? And I prefer McDavid over MacKinnon, but I just don't think there's a wrong answer.
No, and that was going to be my follow-up was, okay, how would you convince someone to choose MacKinnon over McDavid? And so you'd say, if you prefer power, right? Like if that's what you're emphasizing, then that's the way you're going to go is towards MacKinnon, if that's the lens that you're looking at it through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really, and again, this is just a style. I think it comes down to a stylistic preference. If we were not talking about teams being involved and you're rooting for a certain logo to do well, because Avs fans love to be like, well, McDavid's never won a Stanley Cup, and it's like Nathan MacKinnon did, but he didn't win the Conn Smythe. Yeah, he wasn't the leading forward, leading scorer at forward on his team that year. He was third. Like there are little things, and when you're talking about two all-time great players like this, like it comes down to which little things are you going to pick apart to make the point that you want to make. And for me, it's like McDavid, but they're both going to be arguably in the top 10. McDavid will definitely be in the top 10 of scoring by the time his career is over. He's just been too good.
Yeah. I'm glad at least one of those guys is already on our team. So you can't go wrong. Cannot go wrong.
No kidding.
Huh?
I said no kidding. I mean,
yeah.
It's so hard. Like I'm like, I'll take the other guy, but I'm not taking Nathan MacKinnon for granted. I'm really, really not. He is unbelievable.
No, I mean, like you said, when it comes down to guys who are that evenly matched, that evenly connected in talent, it's all about splitting hairs, right? I mean, that's all you can base your argument on, and it's just subjective because it's like which split hairs do I care more about personally? But you're just not going to go wrong. And then you pair that with, like I see Sky in the chat saying he'd take Makar. Yeah, well, you pair that with MacKinnon and Makar. Well, now you're talking.
And that's the McDavid MacKinnon conversation is one of them. They each have an elite running mate. MacKinnon has Makar, and then he had Rantanen. Now he has Natchez, who is a whole other conversation. And McDavid has spent his whole career with Leon Draisaitl, who's also going to be in the Hall of Fame and has his own Hart Trophy. And Cale Makar has multiple Norris trophies and a Conn Smythe. Like there's so much hardware involved in these four guys that it's not even like, oh, well, that guy has a better partner in crime. Not really. They're all four going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Mikko Rantanen's going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point. Like, and he's not even part of this anymore. Like it's insane. It's insane the way that these two guys have been able to produce, but in part because they've got Hall of Fame talent around them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you just said a second ago, you said the Natchez situation is a whole different conversation. I'd like to have a conversation that involves Marty Natchez when we come back. We got to pause for our last break. When we come back, unsung heroes for the Avs, and also who needs to step up this season that has not been playing at the peak of their game. We'll have that conversation coming up after this quick pause. All right, simple enough. Back here on the Denver Sports Podcast, where we talk all things the biggest and best topics in Colorado sports. It has been it's been a nice little run of Avalanche topics here on this show. If you guys follow the show, we're not tied to any one of our teams. This show is kind of I almost call it our national show, right? It covers just all of our different teams. But last week we had Bailey Curtis on the show talking Avs. I think 2 weeks ago we had we had Justin on the show, and now we get AJ to come talk about the Avs. So I want to get some more general takes. We've been talking about Nathan MacKinnon a lot, but I want to get some of your general insight into how this season has gone for the Avs, into this just overall season as a whole. So I'll start with this. Unsung heroes from the year. Is there a player or group of players that, from your perspective, have been kind of like an X factor in a way? Someone that doesn't usually get the credit that Makar and MacKinnon have received, but have been just as important in the Avs' success this year and the ability to just dominate for most of this season?
I mean, it's hard to say he's not getting the credit because he just got named to the Team USA Olympic team, but Brock Nelson has been awesome. Games 1 through 9, Brock Nelson was not good, and there were not a lot of really positive signs, and there were a whole lot of like, this is how Chris McFarland gets fired.
Yeah.
Kinds of conversations, because the trade price and then the contract that he got was substantially higher than a handful of other guys in the offseason, and there was a lot of very real conversation about, okay, you traded Mikko Rantanen, that's one thing, like maybe Marty Necas ends up being sick and this goes well, but Brock Nelson has to be the answer at the second line center, otherwise what are we doing here? And again, it's hard to say he's been unheralded or overlooked, because he just made this is no offense to some of the smaller European nations, but like Team USA had a really big pool of like high end players to pick from, and Brock Nelson made it, and justifiably so, because he's been fantastic. This is the best he's ever been in the NHL defensively. Offensively, he's right there with his peak years. He's driving play. He's playing hard defensive minutes. He's opened that lineup up so much, and now he started to actually help out on the power play, which they sorely need. Like, Brock Nelson has done everything. You watch the games, like you watch the 2 Florida games, and if you didn't know anything about either team, you didn't know anything about any of the players walking in, you would have been like, wow, Brock Nelson must be their best player. Because he was that good. He was that good in Florida and didn't get fully rewarded for it, but really, 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 really good year for him. And like Nelson's been so good that I think as we get to the second half of the season, we'll start to have a Selke conversation about Nelson, which is a trophy that no Av has ever won. Best defensive forward in the NHL. No Av has ever won it. One of the few. And I think it's Selke and Vezina are the only 2 trophies that an Av has not won it, which is amazing given Patrick Roy was around for a while.
Yeah,
so,
that's surprising.
The Avs have never really had a guy that has had like a really high end season as one of the elite defensive forwards in the league. Nelson has put himself in the conversation, and all of this is caveated with, this needs to carry over into the playoffs. Obviously it has to. Obviously it has to. But again, it's hard to say he's unsung, but Brock Nelson, I think, has been like a huge, huge, huge storyline for the Avalanche this year.
Totally. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because, both Justin and Bailey kind of chose to go more towards the goaltending situation for the Avs. Understandably, right? Wedgwood and Blackwood have been, a huge, I don't know if you call them an X factor or just a huge piece of this puzzle for the Avs. But I do think, by definition, Brock Nelson, I think has been a huge X factor for the team. He's been someone that, like you said, combined with the doubts that everyone had at the beginning when he signed the contract and he wasn't playing up to that level, and how he's playing now, it's hard to say that, he's not the X factor or maybe an unsung hero of the team this year. But also, I can see Wedgwood and Blackwood getting some love on that side too, because that's been equally as important as it always is. But goaltending, it's a lot more front and center, right? When it's good, everyone is applauding them. When it's bad, everyone's hating on them, right? And it's definitely a lot more vocal. It's a lot more vocal of a position on the ice.
Well, and Scott Wedgwood just played 3 games in 4 days, which is something you don't do to an NHL goaltender unless you really feel like you have to. And the Avalanche were competitive in all 3 games, and a big credit to Scott Wedgwood for that. I didn't love 2 of the 3 goals that he allowed in Tampa Bay. I had some issues with, but there were other problems too. It wasn't like just Wedgwood where you're like, well, gotta have a save. Like there were a handful of problems in breakdowns and coverage and plays. And Wedgwood, I thought, probably should have had at least one of those, but whatever. The fact that he was the Avalanche were that competitive at the end of that road trip, like Wedgwood was good, and he's continued to be good. Blackwood's been really good. They're on their way. They're pacing right now to win the Jennings Trophy, which is fewest goals allowed in a season. Has not meant a whole lot in terms of postseason success. It's not like it's like one of those indicators. It's just more like, congrats. You're both of your goalies did the job.
Yeah.
And the Avalanche right now are pacing to win that. So again, it's hard to say that they're unsung because of that. Just like with Brock Nelson, where you're like, this is a huge story. This is an enormous part of this team's success. Like you just can't ignore that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the goaltending has been great. If we're talking like a true unsung hero, if you listen to our show or read any of my work, it's not really unsung just because I talk about him a lot. But Sam Malinsky has been awesome this year. He has been awesome. He's getting no power play time. He's trending towards, it's not quite a 40-point season anymore because of the lack of power play time. But his underlyings are great. He showed great versatility on this road trip with no Devon Taves. He's played on the left side, the right side. He played with several different partners for a handful of shifts here and there. All of them experienced success. And you can't just say, well, Sam Malinsky is solely the reason for that. Of course, hockey doesn't work that way. But it is notable that wherever a guy goes, success is following him. That means that you start to key in on that guy and go, what's going on here? So Sam Malinsky came in as an awkward fit on a third pairing for the Avs, and he has turned himself into a guy that next year might make $5 million in free agency. Like he's done amazingly well for himself. And I think that his ability to move off of the blue line, to move pucks through the neutral zone, and he's kind of like Diet Makar. A lot of the shimmy shakes with the puck, a lot of some of the on ice mannerisms are very Makar-esque, and you're like, this is very familiar. It's weird they have 2 guys that do this. It's not as good. It's not as explosive. It's not, and obviously, like, that's Cale Makar. Like, come on. But Sam Malinsky's been one of my favorite stories of this year. One of my favorite Avs to watch because late bloomer, came out of college at 25 years old, which is old to be coming out of college.
Yeah, that is actually really old.
Oh, like we talk about it. He and Sam Girard are the same age, and Sam Girard's been in the NHL for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And it's like,
especially in hockey where dudes are like 16 out there, it feels like.
Like Sam Malinsky he will be 28. Yeah, as comments mentioned, he'll be 28 when he goes into free agency this summer. It does not feel that way.
No, I'm 28.
And
I should go play hockey.
I mean, there's still a path apparently.
Yeah, I know. I still have 4 years of eligibility in college. Come on.
That's right. Get to it, man. Like it's not a common path that you see a guy go into college hockey so late and then be there for such a long time. Like he hasn't been in the league long. This is his second full NHL season. So everybody's like, oh, but he's a young guy that could do it. No, he's in his prime now.
Yeah.
Now, and the next probably 3 years are the best that Sam Malinsky will ever be. But right now, this year, he's awesome. He's been awesome. He's been a lot of fun to watch.
If you read, if guys at home, if you guys read Studs and Duds post game after every Avs game, I'm pretty sure I've seen Sam Malinsky in the studs category for pretty much every single game. At least
there's a lot of them.
At least in the recent memory.
Yeah, there were last night, the Tampa Bay game. I put him as I had a harder time coming up with a stud because they didn't play great. So
I think you put I think you put the what was it, the third line for the Avs in the studs category last night?
Yeah, I had fourth line and Sam Malinsky.
Yeah. I love it. Again, if you guys want to check out Studs and Duds and all of our diehard content, jump on that deal right now. But last question here. We got about 5 minutes left of the show. What adjustments does this team need to make? Who needs to start making adjustments? Who's not playing up to the level that they need to be? How does this team reach that next caliber? And it feels weird to say because the team, despite a couple losses, has been playing really well as a whole. But what's that last adjustment they need to make to get to the next step?
Well, the power play just has to be better. You can't have if the power play was league average, we would be like annoyed by it, but it would be like, okay, well, I mean, it's at least competitive. Right now, it's a bottom 5 power play, and we're talking about Nathan MacKinnon winning the Rocket Richard for most goals in a season, Cale Makar possibly winning another Norris, and then possibly having 300-point players in Makar, MacKinnon, and Natchez, and their power play sucks. Like, it's not like it's underwhelming or, oh, it's a little worse than it should be. No, it's bad. It's bad, man. I feel offended every time I have to sit through one. I'm annoyed by it. I want to do a film breakdown on it, but I'm not sure that I'd get through it because I might claw my damn eyes out having to watch it. It is uncompetitive. It is repetitive. They're not learning from any of their mistakes. There's no sense of urgency. They don't shoot pucks. They don't create scoring chances. They don't even hold the zone. They can't even gain the zone too much of the time. They're awful to watch on the power play. It makes no sense that a team is just like, you know what? We'll just stay at 5v5 and be more dangerous than having more players on the ice. I don't understand. It is so dumb to me. Yeah. And yet, I say that, but with an empty net, very good. Last night was only the second empty net goal that they've given up all season. They're 4-2 in scoring. With an empty net, they're at 4-2. But okay, great. So they get it at 6v5, but at 5v4, totally lost.
Yeah, so what you're saying is for their power plays, they should just take the goalie out and just go. They should do the empty netter just in the middle of the game. No, it is a pull your hair out type of thing because of how good the team is in every other aspect. I think, like you said, it would be frustrating if they were league average, but I guess it would be a breath of fresh air compared to what they're doing now. But you see the depth and the talent that this team has, and then you watch them play in an advantage, and you sit there saying, "What are we doing?" Right? It's the most "what are we doings" that you get out of a game when you watch the Avalanche. It's the only time really in a game where you're sitting there, kind of looking at the TV, like, "What the hell are they doing right now?" Right? Yeah. And that's why I think it's so frustrating.
It's incredibly frustrating, and by far the biggest weakness on the team. Although their penalty kill continues to get stops, but their process on the PK has gotten way worse.
Yeah.
And that's a concern. So now you're talking about both special teams units are bleeding. You have to be really worried about that because you can't win games in the NHL solely with 5-on-5 domination. So they really need the special teams to pick up. And great, like their goaltending is bailing out a PK that's bleeding chances, but that's not going to continue forever. Some of those chances are just way, way, way too good to ask your goaltender to make those saves every single game. That is a concern. You really need to get the special teams tuned up a little bit, and you do that, you're the best 5-on-5 team in the NHL. You really don't have to, you're in a really, really good shape there.
Well, the Avs are, despite some of their flaws, still the best team in the NHL. They are an absolute wagon, and it's been a pleasure to get to talk about the Avs for the last couple of weeks, talk about Nathan MacKinnon. I truly believe one of the future greats in hockey when all is said and done. And so, this has been fun, AJ. Appreciate you jumping on and talking a little hockey with me today.
Yeah, anytime, man. I appreciate you having me around.
All right. Well, you guys can find the DNVR Avs podcast, as you probably already do, on your platforms, pregame, postgame, all the good stuff coming up. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time right here on the Denver Sports Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.